Greta, it's great to see you. For me, it's morning. For me, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. For you, it's obviously, I think, around 5 o'clock in the
5.
evening, right? Yeah, exactly. So thank you very much for doing that with us.
No,
This
thank
is
you.
great.
So glad to be on here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this has been quite a year for you. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like the last time I remember I saw you was when you went to Santa Monica, bicycling with me through Santa Monica and through the parks and everything like that. And I remember that you also went up, you visited different places here, and especially a lot of the places that were damaged because of the fires, the wildfires and all that stuff. I remember you went up to Paradise. And those people that don't know, this is a town that was destroyed by wildfires. And there was, like, I would say, 85 people died because of the fire, and 95% of all the structures were destroyed. It was like 18,000 structures that were destroyed, so that the people know the enormity of this fire. You went up there to visit this town and all that stuff. And since then, it has been, kind of like a wild roller coaster ride for you. So what has this last year been like for you?
I think it has been quite a roller coaster for everyone, because I went on lots of trips. I was traveling all the time, and I didn't sleep in one place more than like 3 nights. And then coming home and then going into lockdown, and basically not meeting people for quite a few months. So it was a big contrast. But of course, like everyone has experienced, it's been a very strange year. But I've also returned to school, which I find very nice. So it's been good as well.
What has it been like? And now you've been now gone for a year, I think, from school. What is it like going back to school now again?
I'm really enjoying it. It's really good to get back my routines, and to get back to school, to have something to do every day where you know what you do, and I love learning as well. So it's really fun.
Now, you one time said, I saw an interview where you said you want to become a scientist. Is that still the case? Do you want to be a scientist, or what is your goal in the future?
I have no idea, to be honest. I want to be everything. I want to be a scientist, but I also want to be basically everything else. So I don't know. But right now, I will take it one step at a time, and be an activist for as long as I have to, for as long as I want to.
Have you, and you, by the way, you're a very good activist. I mean, it's fantastic. And that leads me to my next question. I was always saying to myself, I mean, did she know the kind of incredible impact that she will make on the world by not going to school for a year and to just traveling around the world and to be an activist and to speak up and to say your mind? And did you know this would happen? Because you became now the most famous and effective kind of communicator in the environmental movement. So what was your thinking before you started this whole thing?
Well, I mean, I haven't done that much. It's the climate movement consists of millions or even tens of millions of people. So I have not done all this alone, of course. But I mean, I didn't really plan anything. I just thought that I need to do something. I want to do everything I can, and this is something I can do. And then I just went on with it and did what I could, and that's what I keep doing still today.
Have you ever thought about ever running for office yourself? Mm-hmm. I mean, becoming a politician and getting inside in order to really make changes, or do you rather stay on the outside and make changes from the outside?
I guess both are good. Both suits different kinds of people. I mean, I am 18 now, so I guess I could run for office in Sweden if I wanted to. But I think that right now, what we need most is pressure from the outside. We have lots of politicians, and who, of course, many of them want to do more than they are doing. We have a goodwill, but we don't have real political will. We don't have real political pressure from the public on politicians. So I feel maybe that's where I can be most useful, to be one of those people demanding action from the outside, spreading awareness in order to create this movement of people who together are demanding action.
That is absolutely true. And I think that the question really is, is if the communication, the way this whole subject of climate change and pollution and terminating pollution and all of this has been communicated the right way. Because I think there's a reason why it never really caught on the way we all envisioned to catch on. Because the question is because there's experts that say that the idea of threatening people and always doing doom and gloom kind of message and the world is coming to an end and all this stuff doesn't really affect people the way we actually plan to do that. That there's another way of communicating. What is your thought about all that?
I guess we've been trying to wake people up in so many different ways. One way has been more effective than the other, and etc. But I mean, it's a very fine balance. Of course, we can't scare people in order for them to think that everything is over. We can't do anything. Let's just give up. We can't change anything anyways. But also at the same time, not making it look like action is also happening, so that people fall back to sleep and think that, oh, things are being taken care of tonight, I'm not needed. There's a very fine balance. And of course, that's what you need to achieve. And it's quite hard to tell the reality as it is, but not make it seem like we can't change it.
Right, exactly. So what is your thought that needs to be done and what we need to tell people in order for them to become part of the solution rather than being part of the problem? Because there's so many things people don't know. If I, for instance, tell somebody when they say, well, I'm doing everything I can, I said, maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe not. Have you ever thought about that when you order any product, any clothing or so? You don't have to order it from overseas. I know it sounds kind of attractive when you have the American jeans or the German jacket and the Italian leather pants and all that stuff, but you don't have to. You can get it locally. As soon as you go and ship it from another continent, then you have to put things on the big freighter ship, and those big ships pollute. They put out a lot of pollution, a huge amount of pollution. So you are contributing to climate change and you're contributing to pollution. I mean, there's a lot of environmentalists don't really ever talk much to people about what they can do, the simple steps that they can take. What is your thought about that, and what should be those steps that people should take?
I mean, you said what we should tell people in order to make them act. I mean, we should just simply tell the truth as it is, the true costs of what we are doing now. But it's not only about what we tell people, it's also about what we do ourselves. We need to walk the talk, so to speak. If you tell people to care about the environment while you are not doing that, while you are not acting as if you are caring about the environment, then people won't take you very seriously. So it's also about reflecting our words into action as well, to be taken seriously and for people to believe what you're saying. And yes, we need individual action. Of course, we can't only focus on individual action because we need a more of a systemic change. We need to focus, of course, more as well on governments and companies and on state levels and so on. But I mean, we can't have systemic change without also having individual change. We need both of them. One does not cancel the other, so to speak. We need everything we possibly can now. And these things that you do in your everyday life, at least for me, I do them to influence the people around me, to send a signal that we are in an emergency and we need to act accordingly. Because if one person starts doing something, then the people around you will also start thinking, what is there something wrong? Is this something I should be caring about, and so on? And in order to create public pressure, in order to create pressure on politicians, we need people to be aware of the situation we are in. So if you start making changes in your everyday life, that's a part of spreading awareness and to create a bigger, critical mass of people who are demanding change.
Right. What do you think about the people? What is your message to the people that, there's always the naysayers. It's impossible. It can't be done. No, and all this stuff. And I always say, as a matter of fact, I made it one of the main rules to success when I talk about how to be successful is don't listen to the naysayers.
Yeah.
It's just don't listen to the naysayers. What is your message to the naysayers?
That, I mean, we have to believe that this is possible because it is still possible. It is still possible within the laws of physics to avoid the worst consequences. But it's only possible if we take action. So it's up to us. If we are just sitting here and saying no, it's not going to happen, then it will not happen. But if we, on the other hand, say it can happen because we are going to make it happen, then we will make it happen. Because as long as we believe that change is possible, we will still be fighting for change. And so it's still in our own hand. We still have things in our own hands. And if we choose to take action, we can achieve almost anything because we don't know what will happen if we start to take action. We have never faced a situation like this before. So it could have positive tipping points. It could have positive feedback loops. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also in general, people just, it's an easy way out to just say, oh, this is impossible, and then just surrender and give up. And I mean, I've heard this my whole life, and I'm sure you've heard it a lot of times yourself. I mean, when I was talking about being a bodybuilding champion, they said it's impossible. It's an American sport. When I wanted to get into show business, they say you would never be a leading actor. When I wanted to run for governor, they said it's impossible. You've never even run for mayor or for congressman or something. So everything was always impossible. So that's why I kind of laugh at this, because I believe what Mandela said, that everything seems to be impossible until someone does it. And I think that we can do it. There's absolutely no two ways about it. Since this is created by human beings, this mess, I think that human beings can also get rid of it. The key thing is just, that for everyone to rally together and to work together on this. This is as simple as that. And this is why I think people like you are so important. And the impact that you have had, not just on grown-ups, but specifically on young people, on children, and from children on to young adults, is just extraordinary, especially with those Friday school strikes that they have had. And so my question is now, how did you kind of replace that? Because after COVID happened, you couldn't really do those Friday strikes anymore. And so how did you replace that? Was it through using a platform and communicating through the internet, or what was your way of communicating with the people?
As soon as the pandemic really was became a big thing, especially in Europe, around the middle, I think it was around the 10th of March or something, 2020, we got together internationally and decided very easily that we were going to postpone and cancel everything that we had planned because it was the only responsible thing to do. And so we did. And we moved online. We had like campaigns online. We had some kind of live streams to try to educate people. We had like Twitter storms, online campaigns, and did educational videos and so on to try to do our bit, even though we couldn't meet physically. But then we have also had strikes. In some places, people have gone on striking every week, in small numbers, of course, where that has been possible. And then we have had some kind of global strikes. In some places, people can gather in bigger numbers, for example, in Australia and New Zealand. But in some places, it's like a couple of people who are standing with a few feet apart. And in some places, they make completely actions completely without people. For example, that they put out signs on the streets, or that they hang something out of the window, or whatever it is, or sometimes we just make strikes online, that we gather online on Zoom meetings, for instance, and take a picture together with signs and post online. Of course, it doesn't have as much impact, but at least it's something. But soon we'll be back again on the streets.
But whenever you are online, you always have those trolls that attack, and they say the mean-spirited things, and they always say, how do you deal with that?
I mean, it's inevitable, unfortunately, in today's society to speak out on something that is actually important without receiving huge amounts of threats or hate or mockery and lies being spread about you. I mean, that's just inevitable, unfortunately. So you just have to kind of deal with it, I guess. It shouldn't be that way, but those are the rules that is now. And of course, we need to do everything we can in order to change those rules. But for now, I just sort of accept it, because I mean, you could also see it in another way. Why would they spend their time attacking and spreading doubt or lies about teenagers who are just trying to do good? Why would they spend their time doing that? That must mean that we are doing something important. Otherwise, they wouldn't prioritize that. So that means that we are getting heard.
Absolutely, this is the right attitude to have. You just have to let it kind of roll off your shoulder. Key thing is just to stay on message and to keep marching forward. I just wanted to also find out from you, because I'm really angry about the countries that made a commitment in 2015, voluntary commitment, may I remind you, voluntary commitment to reduce greenhouse gases and pollution by a certain percentage. But 70% or so of the countries did not really keep their promise and did not meet those goals. So I was just wondering, what is your thought about that? And what is your message to those countries?
I mean, if we look at it that way, I mean, I don't think any country has done its part in order to be in line with the Paris Agreement. Maybe a few exceptions, like they talk a lot about Bhutan and so on. But we are, as it is now, we are nowhere even near to be in line with the Paris Agreement to keep the global average temperature rise to below 1.5 degrees Celsius, or even well below 2. So I guess we need to do something else, because what we are doing now is clearly not working. We need to start actually treating this crisis like a crisis, and stop just talking, because as it is now, it may seem like lots of countries are doing enough, are doing stuff, are moving forward. But if we look at the actual emissions, we are right now experiencing the second highest rise in emissions ever in history. So it shows that we are very, very far from taking our responsibility, especially countries like mine and yours. But I mean, that's expected, since we don't have enough public pressure to really put pressure on politicians, since we don't have enough awareness. People are not fully aware of what's happening, of course, then they will not demand action. So what we need now is to raise awareness and to start treating this crisis like a crisis.
Right, absolutely. Now, as you know, we have a newly elected president. I think that we had one, besides a lot of things that we have in common, but one of them was, that we didn't like Donald Trump because of what he did, for the environment, which was nothing, or actually worked against it. So now we have a new president. Now we have President Biden. What is it that you think he should do now in order to really move things forward? As you know, now with him being in the White House, we have now joined again, the international community, and we are working together with them. But is there anything specific, a specific message that you would give him, the way to move forward?
Yeah. Of course, my message to everyone is just to listen to the science and act on the science. But I mean, and he says he's doing that, but I guess that's for him to prove now. As it looks now, so far, he has not been very successful. But that can change, of course. If we put enough pressure on him, then he will have to change eventually. But I guess my message wouldn't be mainly just for him, but rather maybe to the public that, yes, Trump is gone, but that doesn't mean that we can relax. There could be there could be a danger in us thinking, oh, he's gone, now everything will be all right. So then we don't do anything because we think things are being taken care of. That could be a danger. So my message is, don't relax and keep demanding action, keep pushing, maybe even more now.
Right. I think there's a lot of positive things going on in the United States because everyone is in this kind of mood now. Now we can go and do something. You know, we have the right president. Here's the right attitude. We have a lot of leaders there in Washington that are wanting to march in the right direction, even though they get stopped by the Republicans still and all that stuff. But the fact is, there's a much more positive mood here that we can accomplish something in the environmental thing. And I think that has shown also in the car industry in America in general, not just California with Tesla, but you know, we have now these big car companies like Ford, you know, came out, you know, and for the first time they're now making a big truck, the F-150, which is kind of like the, you know, kind of the rugged, kind of a manly kind of a truck that usually was always with an 8-cylinder engine and using a lot of fuel. Now they're coming out electric, and it just immediately sold out. And then, of course, General Motors has come out now with the Hummer, also electric, and they're coming out this year. So it seems to me there's a lot of movement going in the right direction, even though 20 years late, but it's better late than never. And so I think that, so I just was thinking about, do you feel any optimism there that we are now finally getting it and moving in the right direction on the private sector?
Yeah, so that's my dog drinking water in the background. But yeah, of course, there are always huge causes of optimism. We are taking steps forward, even though it may be insignificant, even though it may be not enough. We are, of course, still moving in the right direction, and of course, that's something that we should be glad about. That's much better than doing nothing, as you say. Better late than never. Yeah. And of course. But I think my biggest source of optimism right now is the fact that people are ready for change. People are more willing to change and want climate action much more than I previously thought. And I think more than people in general think. So I see, and just imagine if we started to actually treating the crisis like a crisis, if the media made people become fully aware of what's actually happening, just imagine what could happen then. I mean, and of course we have seen now with the corona pandemic that it's not the lack of money that is the problem, it's the lack of political will. So that just shows that if we decide to do something, if we decide to do this, then we can do it. Just look at how fast we were able to develop vaccines, for instance. I mean, it's insane. So that's a huge source of optimism, at least for me.
Well, that's great. Now we think that in Vienna, as you know, next month we have our summit.
Yeah.
And it's our Austrian World Summit on July 1st. The theme of it is healthy planet, healthy people, healthy planet. And yeah. So what is your thinking about the relationship between healthy people and the healthy planet?
I mean, of course, we can't be healthy living on a planet which is dying. It's just as simple as that. But then also, if you look at the concrete reasons behind us being unhealthy, whether it is air pollution or zoonosis, I mean, from, for example, pandemics like this one, which is often a result of us destroying natural habitats and forests. I mean, it's the same thing, the same solution that would make us live more sustainably, that will save nature, is also often the ones that will make us more healthy and often also more happier. So these are all interconnected. We cannot solve the health crisis without also solving the climate and the ecological crisis and so on. They are all interlinked, and they are all just symptoms, at least I think, of a much larger sustainability crisis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the reason why we always talk about health, healthy people, healthy planet, is because we know from the World Health Organization, from other scientists and experts that have told us that there's at least 7 million people dying every year because of pollution. The amount of people that get cancer and that get heart diseases and, all kinds of diseases because of pollution. So that's why I think it's important to pay attention to the health of the planet and to the health of people, because the two are kind of really connected. So I'm glad that you think so. Well, I just want to wind this down and just ask you if there's anything else on the end that you would like to say that I maybe didn't cover, or that you want to say to the world, because a lot of people are watching this.
Oh, I mean, I could go on talking forever, I guess, but that wouldn't be very very good. But I don't know. I want to thank you for doing everything that you are doing and for raising awareness on this and for using your platform and also for having helped me personally as well. So thank you for that, and we will continue this fight because there is simply no other choice. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to battling this together.
Yeah.
Like I said, and as you said so eloquently, that there is not just us, but there's millions and millions of people that are doing that every day, fighting for a clean environment. And we want to thank them all. But I want to thank you. And I tell you, you are so much fun to hang out with. When you came here to Los Angeles, I loved hanging out with you and talking for hours and going on bike rides. I'm looking forward to doing that again. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Okay, so good luck with your school, good luck with your career, good luck with all your fighting against pollution and all this stuff. And we will see you again very soon. Okay.
Yes, definitely. Good luck to you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye bye. And please say hi to your father.
I will.
How is he doing, by the way?
He's good.
Good. Say hi to
He's
him, okay? And I want to see him again too and work out with him.
definitely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes.
See you. Bye bye.